You live in your head all day, and you never obviously can exit that, and you're always telling yourself things, right? And you live in this story that you tell yourself. And I think one of the main reasons I like getting objective and asking you to measure is because there's so much chatter, so much noise in our brain about how we're progressing, how we're doing, what our effort is like. And getting on that scale, whether it's intimidating or not, helps us to be accountable, helps us to assess. But most importantly, like, we have feedback. We know what we're doing, and this is the feedback, this is the outcome, this is the one that we want to measure. We want to see changes. And if we see changes, we often know why. If we don't see changes, we also often know why. But if we don't, at least we can do a little bit of investigation. It puts us in a ballpark to start doing that investigation, right? And I think I want everyone to move away from the number. The scale doesn't matter. The number on the scale doesn't matter. But if it's going down and that's your goal, we're making progress. If it's going up and it's making, and that's your goal, we're making progress, right? That you're not defined by that specific number. It is specific to Earth. This is your gravitational interaction with the world, with the Earth. And it would change if you're on the moon, if you're on Mars, and different places. The amount of matter, the amount of actual weight on you is different than that scale number there. I'm more interested in seeing the body fat percentage usually go down. If your weight goes up and that's your goal because you want to gain, so be it. If the weight doesn't change but the body fat changes, I'm okay with that too, because more than likely, that's what you want. You want to be able to fit into clothing, you want to be able to look in the mirror, you want to feel confident, you want all these things. That is not based on that number. And everyone puts a lot of stock in that number and builds the confidence up for that. But it's really not what we're looking for. If you're fitting in your clothing better, if your body fat's going down, that's what we're looking for. But most importantly, you're becoming objective. You're getting out of your head and into something that you can measure. You can tell yourself a story. You can tell yourself whatever you want. You can give yourself examples of why you're doing well or not doing well. And you go on that scale, you do those measurements, you take those photos, and then you actually have to face a fact. Which way is this going? And again, that helps you to get out of your head and recognize, because there's weeks that you said you could feel like, oh, I had a bad week. You know, I spent time with my father, had dinner. I went with friends to the patios because they're finally open. I had an extra snack one night, and you might think that you've done so bad, but you know, realistically, you were still under your calories. You still followed all the other things, and you jump on that scale, and there's progress, and you're like, wow, this actually works. It gives you a little bit of confidence to keep going. But at the same time, you might feel like you had a good week, and maybe that number stays the same or goes up. That creates this dialogue. We'll have that conversation. We're gonna look at that feedback. We're gonna look at all these different numbers, not just the scale. That's why I want you to move away from scales that don't have body fat. I want you to move away from smart scales that don't tell you enough information. Because this is not 1953. And maybe your doctor only looks at your weight, but they are way behind the times. Because there's numbers that tell us more about your health, about your progress, and it's not just the scale. So continue, jump on it, get that measurement, and let's continue to get out of our heads and become more objective so we got feedback, so we can make changes to the plan if necessary.